For me, I think we have to contextualize this. So I've been chancellor for, like I said, a year and a half.
Mhm.
And so literally almost a year after I become chancellor, my first fall semester, because I became chancellor in August. So coming in my first fall semester, which would have been this last fall semester, Hurricane Beryl
Mhm.
came across Houston. And I think a lot of people were like, okay, got a new chancellor. Let's see how we do this.
Yep.
Um, and it was also at the time, if you're paying any attention on LinkedIn or Inside Higher Education, there's this big talk of sort of this enrollment cliff and how people are worried about
Yeah.
enrollments. And our enrollments were actually going into Hurricane Beryl, they were negative.
Mm.
And so traditionally in that mindset, you start sort of pushing all buttons to ramp up retention. And I did something that was completely inconceivable. I shut down the entire system. For some colleges were closed for 2 weeks
Mhm.
during peak reg, right? Peak registration. And so a lot of my colleagues in the area were telling me you're out of your mind. You're a brand new chancellor, you're negative enrollments, and you're closing the college. And then we opened up one location at a time in a very intentional way. So the way that sort of the app worked with, I would send out an email literally the first day of Hurricane Beryl. Um, the first day after, and actually the first day during, all the way up for about 2 weeks, I would send an email with updates on the 27 locations, and then we would send out the SafeZone notification after my email.
Mhm.
So we have so many locations that we had to sort of use the text wisely. Such and such location will be open tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I would send out sort of the contextualized email saying, this is why these buildings are not open.
Mhm.
And I almost had groupings. So, right. So we had some buildings, for example, that had no electricity. And then it's July in Houston. Then the electricity comes back, and then we figure out that the AC isn't working.
Right.
And so there's actually all these stages, right, to get a building open that people take for granted. And we use the app to sort of the app and the communication plan to let people know this is what's going on in all 27 locations.
Mhm.
And if your location was closed, you got to basically stay home and focus on yourself and your family. And something that happened that was really remarkable, that's really sort of touching, when we opened up 2 weeks later, some of the colleges that had been open for 2 weeks, they sent staff to the colleges that were just now opening to sort of help um, supplement the staff over there. And we had all-time record enrollments in
Mm.
the fall, all time in the history of my institution, which is 53 years old. It was all time. And so people ask me all the time what it was. When you walked into those buildings, especially the student services buildings, after we had closed for 2 weeks and we paid everyone and said, focus on your families, focus on you. The college will be here. Same thing to students. When you walk the buildings, there was a sense of palpable gratitude,
Mm.
and that gratitude manifested into, people trying just a little bit harder. Students feeling like they were heard. Because we had summer session going as well, right? So we basically pushed
Yep.
summer session. So when students were looking for who cares about me, this institution cares about me. When employees are deciding when there's a situation where I got to choose between my family and my home and public disaster, is this institution going to be someone that's on my team as much as I'm asked to be on theirs? And I think that as an institution, I was really proud of sort of the react. And we had, by the way, we had back to back. So in the spring, it followed it. And so really sort of Hurricane Beryl in many ways solidified a lot of trust that I think up until that point, as a new chancellor, you're saying these are how things are going to be. But I think Beryl really sort of solidified, okay, when it comes push to shove, the institution is going to put me first, is going to put my college, is going to put my home first,
Yep.
my family's first. And I think that goes a long way.